Welcome to our immigration briefing program. Today, we're diving into some hot topics surrounding immigration policies and enforcement in the U.S. First up, Texas is making headlines with a new bill that requires local sheriffs to cooperate with ICE through 287(g) agreements. This move aims to tighten border security but raises concerns about racial profiling and community fear, as sheriffs could face lawsuits if they refuse to participate. It's a bold step that aligns with Governor Abbott's stance on immigration enforcement. Next, a heartbreaking incident in Georgia where a police officer resigned after mistakenly arresting a young undocumented teen. The girl, Ximena Arias-Cristobal, was detained for over 2 weeks due to a wrongful traffic stop, even though charges were dropped. Her case highlights the dangers of aggressive immigration enforcement and the risks posed to innocent individuals, especially those protected under DACA. It's a stark reminder of the need for fair and accurate policing practices. Finally, we look at the troubling trend of ICE agents conducting rapid arrests inside U.S. immigration courts. These operations, especially under the expedited removal policy, are criticized for undermining legal rights and turning courts into tools for mass deportation. Critics warn that such tactics threaten the integrity of the justice system and deny immigrants their right to a fair hearing. As internal documents reveal coordination among ICE agents across many states, the debate over due process continues to intensify. Please continue to watch for more detailed insights. The Houston Chronicle vividly reports the alarming trend of federal agents, disguised in masks, storming courthouses across the United States to make arrests of immigrants immediately after their court hearings. These covert operations, part of the Trump administration's intensified deportation drive, have been seen in places from Phoenix to Seattle, where agents swiftly apprehend individuals, often without criminal records and who entered legally. The tactics are described as a betrayal of justice, with attorneys condemning the practice as cruelty disguised as policy, arguing it undermines the legal process and erodes trust in the immigration system. The aggressive arrests happen amid expanded use of expedited removal procedures, which deny many immigrants the chance for a fair hearing, transforming courts into mere steps in a mass deportation pipeline. Yahoo US provides a compelling account of a tragic mistake in Georgia where a police officer, Leslie O'Neill, wrongfully arrested a young undocumented woman, Ximena Arias-Cristobal, who was detained for over 2 weeks, risking deportation. The incident unfolded when O'Neill stopped her for a minor traffic violation, which was later dismissed, yet she was handed over to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, due to her undocumented status. Her detention highlighted the perilous consequences of law enforcement's collaboration with immigration authorities, especially under the 287(g) agreements that deputize local officers to carry out immigration enforcement. Arias-Cristobal's case drew national attention, sparking outrage and fundraising efforts to support her legal fight, while her story exemplifies the dangerous intersection of local policing and federal immigration policies that threaten innocent lives and fuel fears within immigrant communities. The Independent reports on the disturbing trend of ICE agents conducting arrests inside and outside immigration courts nationwide, a tactic that has intensified under the Trump administration's deportation agenda. Agents, often in plainclothes and masked, are executing surprise arrests immediately following court proceedings, disrupting the legal process and intimidating immigrants seeking protection or relief. These operations are criticized by advocates as a betrayal of due process, transforming courts into sites of mass deportation rather than justice. The expansion of expedited removal, allowing for swift deportations without full hearings, further exacerbates the problem, stripping many immigrants of their rights and creating a climate of fear. Critics argue that such aggressive tactics are morally wrong and undermine the fundamental principles of fairness and justice in the immigration system. The Independent vividly exposes the devastating economic and human toll that climate change inflicts on the world's poorest nations. Since 2000, some of these vulnerable countries, including Somalia, Haiti, and Uganda, have suffered an astonishing $156 billion in damages due to extreme weather events such as droughts, floods, and cyclones, costs that not only devastate their economies but also threaten the very survival of their populations. The report highlights how climate change has intensified natural disasters, leading to catastrophic agricultural losses, food shortages, and displacement, with Somalia experiencing a staggering $151 billion in damages, largely driven by worsening droughts and floods. Despite their minimal contribution to global emissions, these nations bear the brunt of climate breakdown, a stark injustice underscored by calls for increased climate finance and support, especially as wealthy countries like the UK and the US cut aid budgets, further crippling their ability to respond and recover. Yahoo US details the turbulent story of Mexican singer Julián Álvarez, whose career was abruptly halted when his visa was revoked by the Trump administration amid allegations of links to organized crime. Álvarez's case is part of a broader pattern where U.S. authorities target prominent Mexican figures, musicians, politicians, and alleged cartel associates, accusing them of criminal ties, often based on tenuous or unverified evidence. The revocations come amid a tense geopolitical climate, with the U.S. intensifying efforts to curb drug trafficking and organized crime by restricting visas for Mexican officials and public figures suspected of collusion. Álvarez's experience underscores the complex intersection of immigration policy, law enforcement, and transnational crime, revealing how the U.S. leverages visa restrictions as a tool to combat criminal networks, but also raising concerns about the potential for political misuse and the impact on cultural exchanges. The Toronto Star provides a gripping account of how a seemingly ordinary woman, Cynthia Solano, became a key figure in the illegal gun trade that fuels violence in Canada. Her story reveals the dark underbelly of cross-border firearms trafficking, where cheap, legally purchased guns from Arizona are smuggled into Canada through a network of covert operations. Solano's own words paint a picture of a woman drawn into the dangerous world of smuggling out of love and financial necessity, transporting hundreds of weapons, including the Glock 19 used to kill Ontario police officer Greg Pierschala, across the border. Despite her initial claims of innocence, her involvement highlights the alarming scale of illegal gun circulation, facilitated by lax U.S. gun laws and weak border security. Her narrative underscores a broader crisis: the ease with which firearms can flow from the U.S. into Canada, fueling violent crime and endangering public safety, with law enforcement struggling to keep pace with sophisticated smuggling networks. The Toronto Star reports on the unprecedented situation of Pope Leo XIV, the first U.S.-born leader of the Catholic Church, who now holds dual citizenship in the United States and Peru while serving as the head of the Holy See and Vatican City. The story explores the complex legal and diplomatic issues surrounding his citizenship status, particularly whether he can retain his American citizenship while being a foreign head of state with broad immunity from U.S. laws. Experts suggest that unless he explicitly renounces his citizenship, it is highly unlikely the U.S. government will strip him of it, given legal precedents. Meanwhile, Leo's Peruvian citizenship, granted in 2015, remains intact, as Peruvian law does not conflict with his status. The article also touches on previous Pope citizenships, noting that Pope Francis renewed his Argentine passport, and others like Benedict XVI and John Paul II did not publicly relinquish their native citizenships, highlighting the rarity and ambiguity of such cases. Nikkei Asia details the mounting challenges faced by Asian immigrants in the UK amid proposed tightening of residency and immigration rules. Ali Hussain, a Pakistani-born doctor in training, faces a prolonged wait for indefinite leave to remain due to new policies that could extend the residency requirement from 5 to 10 years, casting doubt on his future plans. The UK government's proposals also threaten to cut back on care worker visas, increase levies on international students, and restrict post-study work opportunities, which could significantly impact healthcare professionals from South Asia and the Philippines. These changes are seen as a form of collective expulsion, risking the loss of vital health workers and international students who contribute substantially to the UK's economy and public services. The potential fallout extends to universities, which rely heavily on overseas tuition fees, and families from Hong Kong, who face uncertainty about their settlement prospects, further complicating Britain's immigration landscape. Yahoo US narrates the disturbing incident of Leonardo Garcia Vanegas, a US-born citizen, who was violently detained by immigration officials during an operation targeting undocumented workers. The video captures officials wrestling him to the ground and dismissing his official ID as fake, despite it meeting federal standards. Garcia Vanegas, who was born in Florida to Mexican parents, was visibly distressed, asserting his citizenship loudly as he was handcuffed. After he provided his social security number, authorities confirmed his U.S. status, but the ordeal highlights the ongoing tensions and potential abuses within the Trump-era immigration enforcement efforts. The incident underscores the complex and often troubling reality faced by American citizens caught in immigration crackdowns, raising questions about racial profiling, the treatment of citizens, and the scope of federal law enforcement operations in the current political climate. The Toronto Star reports that approximately 800 Canadian Passport Office employees are set to lose their jobs by the end of June due to a significant decline in passport applications, which has plummeted by 500,000 this year. This downturn is largely attributed to Canadians choosing to stay within the country amidst a perfect storm of geopolitical and economic factors, including the recent tariffs, detainment reports, and stricter U.S. border requirements. The decrease in cross-border travel is stark, with March seeing a 17.4% drop in tourist visits and a 31% decline in road trips south of the border, reflecting a broader 15% decline in Canadians traveling abroad. Service Canada, tasked with managing passport services, is adjusting its workforce accordingly, with impacts spread across various provinces, signaling a significant shift in travel patterns and government staffing strategies amid ongoing economic uncertainties. The Independent highlights President Donald Trump's rambling and controversial speech at West Point's 2025 graduation ceremony, where he veered off his initial focus on the graduates' achievements to criticize diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) initiatives, claiming to have liberated our troops from what he called divisive political trainings. Trump's speech was peppered with praise for his administration's immigration policies, including a staunch stance against what he described as an invasion of the country and a boast about his electoral victory. He also reminisced about notable figures like golfer Gary Player and real estate developer William Levitt, illustrating his points with stories of hard work and success, while making exaggerated claims about investigations surpassing those of notorious mobster Al Capone. His remarks, filled with tangential stories and political rhetoric, culminated in a flight to his Bedminster Golf Club, leaving the West Point audience with a mixture of controversy and bewilderment. Yahoo US details a record surge in American citizens seeking residency in the UK, with over 6,600 applications for British citizenship or indefinite leave to remain in the year leading up to March, a peak not seen since records began in 2004. This spike coincides with increasing political polarization and the Trump administration's aggressive immigration policies, prompting many Americans to consider relocating abroad for stability or dual citizenship options. Immigration lawyers note heightened inquiries, especially during the early months of 2025, driven by fears of political upheaval and an uncertain future in the U.S. While some applications are family-based, a notable portion stems from individuals seeking to escape the turbulent political landscape, with the UK government contemplating easing residency requirements to accommodate these new migrants, reflecting a complex interplay between political discontent and global mobility trends. The Independent reports a startling discovery in Texas where law enforcement uncovered a human smuggling operation cleverly concealed within hollowed-out hay bales. During a routine traffic stop on Interstate 10, deputies noticed the meticulous alterations made to the bales, revealing reinforced compartments housing 12 undocumented migrants. This method of concealment, described as both deceptive and perilous, underscores the increasing ingenuity of traffickers seeking to evade detection. The operation's organizers, 2 Houston residents, were arrested alongside the driver, with authorities emphasizing the dangerous lengths smugglers go to transport individuals across highways. This case marks a first for local officials, highlighting a disturbing new trend in human smuggling techniques that pose serious risks to human life. The Toronto Star details a significant legal intervention where a federal judge mandated the return of a Guatemalan man, identified only as OCG, who was wrongfully deported by the Trump administration. Despite an immigration judge's prior order protecting him from being sent back to his homeland due to fears of persecution, OCG was unlawfully deported to Mexico and subsequently returned to Guatemala, where he now lives in hiding. The judge condemned the deportation as a gross violation of due process, emphasizing that the man posed no security threat and had endured trauma, including rape and kidnapping, en route to the U.S. The ruling adds to a series of court decisions criticizing the Trump administration's deportation practices, highlighting systemic issues and the urgent need for accountability in immigration enforcement. The Toronto Star also shares a heartfelt reflection on the enduring impact of summer camp, recounting a childhood experience that sparked a lifelong love for outdoor adventures. The author vividly describes her first camp experience at age 9, where she courageously ventured into new territory alone, forging memories of lake swims, rock climbing, and secret midnight ice cream missions with friends. These formative summers fostered confidence, independence, and friendships that shaped her identity. As an adult, she continues to cherish camping, finding joy in the challenges of outdoor life and sharing this passion with others, especially her high school friends. Her story underscores how summer camp can be more than just fun, it can be a transformative experience that broadens horizons, builds resilience, and creates lasting bonds. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6 Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6 team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6 Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6 Brief via email.
Morning coffee, fresh off the press. Reading headlines, feeling blessed. World keeps turning, stories unfold. Every moment, news gets told. Flipping channels, clicking tabs. Feeding my mind's hunger grabs. Facts and figures, images bright. News keeps rolling day and night. Headlines and headlines, can't get enough. Learning about the world, yeah, it's my stuff. Headlines and headlines, stories unfold. Knowledge is power, truth to behold. Politics, science, sports, and art. Every story plays its part. Global voices, voices near. Every headline loud and clear. Need the latest, got to know. Never stopping, always go. Scrolling, swiping, reading on. Daylight breaks in the dawn. Headlines and headlines, can't get enough. Learning about the world, yeah, it's my stuff. Headlines and headlines, stories unfold. Knowledge is power, truth to behold. Need the latest, got to know. Never stopping, always go. Scrolling, swiping, reading on. Daylight breaks in the dawn. Headlines and headlines, can't get enough.